All right. Hi, everyone. Shall we start now? Okay. So, welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us today in first ever Tapway's webinar. My name is Sarah from Tapway, and I'm going to be your host today. Today, we have an amazing presentation and panel session on maximizing your business potential with video analytics, where we'll be talking about the big trends of video AI that could directly impact your business. So, for our today's agenda will be first welcome remarks, and then after that, followed by introduction to video AI by Tapway. And then after that, we're going to have panel sessions with our experts. And lastly, we're going to have a question and answer sessions. So our goal today is that you will come away with something, a new idea during the session, perspective, a new strategy as well that you can apply to be more successful in your business. So just a little housekeeping before we get started. If you have any questions during the session, please type them into the question box in your Zoom control panel, and we will answer them in the last session, which is the question and answer session. So now let's start with introduction to video AI by our CEO, Lim Chi Hao. So Lim Chi Hao is a passionate entrepreneur. His key responsibilities at Tapway are strategic planning and execution, partnership, investor relation, and overall management of the organization. Meanwhile, he also leads the company's product architecture and technology roadmap planning. So prior to founding Tapway, Chihao spent 4 years working at Airbus Group around the globe, especially with the helicopters division, involved in various multinational system integration projects. So now, without further ado, we will turn the time over to our CEO, Chihao Lee.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Welcome to all the attendees today who have chosen to spare your 1 hour of precious time with us. I hope by the end of this session, you have some takeaways to help you kickstart your video AI journey. Just a little bit about Tapway. Tapway has been established since 2014, and our vision has always been to make physical locations smarter. How do we do that? We leverage AI, artificial intelligence, and also connected sensors, also known as Internet of Things, to capture data in the real world. And why do we capture data in the real world? It's really to help your business to improve in 3 following areas. 1, improve customer experience. 2, enhance security. And 3, streamline operations. Next. So we have been blessed with clients from a variety of industries since 2014, from retail chains to F&B to manufacturing to marketing agencies to property developers and mall operators and even zoos as well. Our presence also extends beyond Malaysia to 3 other countries in Southeast Asia, notably Singapore. Today, we are graced with presence of one of our esteemed customers, which is Plus Highway. Tapway has a suite of turnkey solutions to help businesses to get started today to improve your business. In essence, Tapway helps to track people, faces, vehicles, and assets. And we can develop these solutions solely because of our core competencies, which is 1, video AI, the key topic of today's session. 2, IoT, which is a key component required for video AI or any solution in physical premises. And 3, cloud and big data, which is a key driver to enable amazingly fast data processing, real-time dashboards, and trigger actions to your operations. Video AI is really transforming lives for the better. Not only you can improve quality of life, quality of product, and lower costs, you can also drive efficiency, optimize productivity, improve safety, and even saving the planet. Later, we'll have some more examples to show to you. So the key question would be, why is video AI ready for prime time now? Let me focus on a couple of key points here. First, with deep learning, vision algorithms can now learn just like a human would and handle very complex features or requirements. It just wasn't possible last time. 2, video hardware has come a long way now, and we have highest resolution, better low light performance, and most importantly, higher compute. One of our panelists, Intel, will share more about this later. And really with higher compute, we can now run AI model directly at the camera or even via an AI server on site, thus reducing bandwidth for streaming video feeds to the cloud. We call that Edge AI. Edge AI can now absorb tremendous amounts of data and even have predictive and preventive elements too. And with better connectivity and cloud services like AWS, which is one of the panelists today, we are able to have real-time analytics and actions available at your fingertips. And today, we will have a suite of awesome panelists that will complete the video AI ecosystem. As you know, Intel is one of the household names, and they have some of the best chips in the world to enable AI. AWS, Amazon Web Services, is the leader in cloud technologies and has one of the most complete and most user-friendly platforms to enable AI in your business today. And MDEC brings the industry together and drive economic growth via a variety of initiatives to spur AI adoption. And with Tapway, we complete the ecosystem by providing consulting and turnkey solutions for video AI. So let's deep dive into some of the examples by industry. I'll start off with retail first. We have been serving retailers for the past 5 years, and we're happy to know that retailers now are increasingly aware of the benefits of video analytics and big data. With simple use cases like people counting, you'll be able to learn about your footfall behavior and to maximize your sales conversion as a result. With dwell and queue measurement, you'll be able to optimize customer experience to eliminate inefficiencies in your customer journey. And with activity heat map, you can now understand where your customers are stopping and even what items they're picking up. And this enables you to plan your merchandising and marketing display better. Overall, all these data points can help you make better decisions in your store planning and marketing to boost sales. Video AI will also benefit smart city or city council tremendously, just because there are so many CCTVs out there on the street and everywhere in the city, and they are barely utilized. A variety of use cases is available for smart city. For example, automated threat detection ensures that alerts are triggered to your on-ground team if a security breach happens in a certain restricted area. Traffic behavior tracking helps city councils to understand trends and inefficiencies in order to optimize traffic flow and to further improve road planning. And most importantly, we can also automate traffic violation detection so that it will alert the on-ground team to chase down the violators or simply issue a summon ticket over the cloud directly to their phone. Manufacturing has some of the best use cases for video AI, especially with quality control and equipment integrity monitoring. As you know, visual inspection is now done mostly manually and sometimes results in errors as high as 20 to 30% according to research. And errors result in losses and reputation damage as well to a company, as evidenced by a case where Toyota lost more than 1.3 billion due to defects in cars, resulting in loss of life. With automated visual inspection using video AI, you not only eliminate costs for manual labor, but you can also avoid manual inspection, which are sometimes hazardous to the worker itself, error-prone, ineffective, and slow. As for healthcare, there are two areas in which video AI can help tremendously. First, patient safety. As you know, it's not likely to have one nurse attending to one patient at all times. Thus, video analytics can play a huge role to detect certain events such as fall detection, and also notify nurses when anomalies are detected from the patients. Research states that automation can free up 10% of nursing activities by 2030. Secondly, medical imaging is the most important area in healthcare in which video AI can help doctors in their decision-making process by providing inputs to analyze scan results, such as anomalies, for example, tumor, tissue tear, things like that. With deep learning, video AI in medical imaging is slated to boom in the near future. As for building and property owners, video analytics play a huge part in ensuring safe access control without much manual labor. With advancement right now in facial recognition and license plate recognition technology, both residents, staff, and visitors can gain access to a building securely with almost no interaction with security guards at all. It can also ensure proper social distancing in all parts of your premise in this pandemic right now. Next. And with that, I would like to wrap up my introduction to video AI. I hope all these use cases have inspired you to think about how video AI can help you in your industry and your environment. Think about your pain points today. What are the inefficiencies in your business? What can you automate further? How can you have less touches or less interaction in this COVID-19 environment? In conclusion, it's an opportune time now to implement video analytics because one, technology is ready. Two, cost is much lower compared to last time. So the barrier is lower. And three, COVID-19 crisis requires innovation for all businesses to not only survive, but thrive in these trying times. And now over to you, Sarah, to introduce our list of panelists today.
All right, thank you, Chihao, for the amazing introduction to video AI. I guess now everyone has a clear idea on what video AI is and what it can do to help the industries. So without further ado, let's just meet our panelists. So we have 4 experts here in our webinar. So the first is Malcolm Chan. He's the IoT ecosystem partner from Intel. And then we also have Engineer Dr. Carl Ng, Director of Data Ecosystem Development from MDEC. We also have Sam Majid here, Chief Technology and Innovation Officer of Plus, also CEO of Terras. And lastly, we have Abhinav here, the head of channels for the AWS in data analytics and also machine learning. So for our first panel session, we're going to go right through Malcolm Chan. So Malcolm Chan first forayed in the tech industry as a business consultant with Accenture. In his next stint with Sage, Malcolm plays the role of ISP and ERP application sales covering Greater China and Korea region. During his coverage there, Malcolm learned and built his knowledge on business analytics, automation, and machine learning, and how these domains helps convert numbers into meaningful and actionable data. Malcolm now covers strategic ISP account within Asia Pacific region that focuses on technology domain such as Internet of Things and artificial intelligence. So now, Malcolm, we will really want to know what are the technology platforms that Intel offers to businesses. Also, is there any program option for us to kickstart this journey?
Hey, thanks, Sarah. So just for a little hygiene check, you can hear me clearly?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, so I think to tackle these questions, especially the first question, I think we have to take a step back and sort of look at the problems, because I think what Intel is essentially is a problem solver. That's what our chip does. So when Chihao talks about video AI, what are the challenges that we are facing, right? So as I go through them, I'll describe them clearly. Real-time computation. So in a scenario where you have security and safety issues, like vandalisms, traffic accidents, or, burglary intrusions, or you have fraud in terms of payment and theft. So these are times where you actually need real-time computation in your video AI. So how can we address that, right? Because sometimes your video feeds and the response time may not be synchronous in real time. Another thing, how can you scale the solution across the board, like we have our customer today plus, right? So you have toll booth or, petrol stations or across every single franchise McDonald's. How can you have one successful solution spread across your entire fleet of business, right? So obviously power consumption is another very common issue that we face day to day. Sometimes your video camera, if it's going to work offline, if it's going to work independently? How can we make sure that it stays power on even in times of difficulties, power outages and whatnot? And I think this next point hits a lot of our customers and a lot of businesses, which is limitations on server sizing. So security feeds are only going to get more; they're not going to get less, right? So how can we make sure that we are always on the forefront, being able to predict the size of the server that we're going to need? And I think this is something that our good friend at AWS would be able to help as well. But on our side, we have certain solutions that could solve this. Next thing is privacy issues. How do you keep data within your premises? And there's a lot of connotations with this or issues with this, right? And I think a lot of the business customers in our audience group today can relate to, when we talk about facial recognition, when we talk about, private data, these sort of things, certain customers, they will want to keep it intact. They don't want this to go out of their establishment. In fact, better yet, they don't want unnecessary information going into their server. They just want relevant information, such as when the incident happened or when the theft happened or when the accident happened. They just want to record that. So with all that being said, the real solution here is actually processing on the edge, right? Which is something that Tapway is really, really very good at as well with some of their solutions. And just to take a 30 seconds, what is video AI at the edge right now? Essentially, what it means is it's taking all of your algorithms, it's taking all of your solution and parking it at the hardware where it's installed. So meaning the actual work itself, it's going to take place in the camera, in your security camera itself, without having it to go through all the way into the gateway servers, into the actual computer before all those work is being done. And all of this is being done in an encrypted format, right? So instead of passing through a video, you are passing ones and zeros. Now, as you can tell, you could probably already relate how this is solving all of the issues that I've told you before, right? Real time, you are doing it at the camera itself, you are doing all of the work, right? In terms of limitations on server sizing, you're not bringing all of the security feeds, you're only bringing encrypted information that is necessary and required. And again, this is ones and zeros. So we have privacy and you're not going to see people's faces and that solves the facial recognition issue right away. Now, how does Intel accomplish that? There's two specific components. And as you can see on the right-hand side box, that's the Intel Movidius silicon chip that we have. And then, a lot of people tend to think that Intel is all about hardware, but we also have software and firmware, and that's what OpenVINO is all about. You could probably read it in your own sweet time, but to give you a very good sense in terms of what it is, take the Movidius Myriad X. It's a vision processing unit, so it's a bit different than a CPU, but you can think of it as an engine, right? And you can think of OpenVINO as the car or the vehicle that will be able to carry the engine, right? And lastly, you will have a driver. So the driver here would be a Tapway. So the driver would be driving the vehicle and they will be harnessing the power of the Movidius Myriad X chip, right? And Tapway currently has a solution that is looking into Myriad X BPU. Sarah, could you go back to the previous slide for a while? Just a second, right? And yeah, like I said, Tapway has a solution that's already looking into this, and you will be able to see the efficacy if you go to Chihao, so Chihao could show it to you, right? And to give you a further note in terms of the performance value that you're really seeing, if you look at the bottom right left-hand box, the chip could process over 1 trillion operations per second. And it could do multiple pipelines, multiple operations at the same time. So really, if you have a few worries in your, let's say, for example, in your retail unit, you want to check shelf visit time, and you also want to check, theft, you could do all that at the same time with the ability of a Myriad X chip, right? And OpenVINO, I don't need to say more, it's a vehicle that carries that harnesses the power of the chip. If you look at the last slide, if you look at the last slot, it's 25.6x of the power that you'll be able to get from a possible Intel Xeon chip. So, the efficacy is there. And with this, you will be able to solve all of your analytics worries, right? Now, if we look at some example business solutions out there that are already using it, you can actually see I just put two, it's specifically in the space of traffic control as well as manufacturing visual inspection. I'll focus more on the traffic since Chiha already touched a bit on manufacturing. So for this specific use case, A-Value is a company and a partner of Intel. And what they have been able to do is they have used the Intel CPU as well as with our Myriad X visual processing chip. And what they've done is they've been able to control the traffic flow in real time because, as I said, Edge is real time and they're able to solve off the issue on the spot. They are able to change and maneuver traffic situations on the instance at the edge, right? And to go to the last slide, which is, I think that's related to Sarah's question too. How can Intel help? So look, Intel is all about enabling partners in terms of how they can help the end customers, right? So, we have multiple suites of solutions from software to hardware. We have Intel Dev Cloud, something that you could just plug your solution in and test out all of our hardware on the cloud, and you don't need to buy anything. So this is something like test as you go and try before you buy. And we also support our partners in terms of funding, in terms of support of a first-time proof of concept. And last but not least, we also supply hardware support to our partner. And as Chihao could attest, we help Tapway with multiple hardware. And we also have a free to all consumers, a free available OpenVINO version. And we enable all of our partners as well and customers if they would like to embark on this Intel journey together with us. So I think all in all, that's I would say a good answer to your question. And if any customers have any question or any of the audience group, they have a technical question with regards to the Intel chip, I would be happy to take on those questions. But for now, in the interest of time, I pass it back to you, Sarah.
All right, thank you, Malcolm, for the explanation on the Intel part for video AI. Now before we continue, please, if you have any question, please put it in the question and answer box on your Zoom control, okay? So, all right, now let's zoom into AWS for video AI. So here we have Mr. Abhinav Gupta. He's the head of channels and data analytics and machine learning from AWS. So Abhinav has over 20 years of experience in sales, alliance, and consulting, and currently leads strategy and engagement with partners in analytics and machine learning in the ASEAN region for Amazon Web Services. So prior in joining AWS, he worked at Tableau, leading the GSI Alliance and Partnership in APAC. Abhinav has worked in the US, in the Europe, Middle Eastern, Africa, and for this last 6 years is based in Singapore. He holds a bachelor's and a master's degree in computer science. So now we would like to know what are the services that AWS offers to businesses, of course, who want to embark on this video AR journey. And also, is there any program or funding option for us to kickstart this journey? So, Mr. Abhinav, the floor is yours. I think you're on mute, Mr. Abhinav. All right.
You're right. Can you hear me now? Sorry about that. Awesome, cool. Thank you so much for the introduction, Sarah. Good morning, everyone. So today I'll share with you how you can bring interesting applications of computer vision that Chuhao and other folks are going to share that spans across a variety of use cases, and how do you bring that to life by leveraging AWS AI/ML services. So, I think probably most of you know that Amazon has been leveraging machine learning for the last 20 years. And it's at the core of how Amazon improves our own services and deliver value to our customers. We started applying deep learning to recommendations at Amazon.com 20 years back. And we have improved that model significantly over time. And it moved to other Amazon digital properties as well, like Amazon Prime Video. We use machine learning at our fulfillment process, including developing a very robust forecast system, or natural language understanding and text-to-speech technology to give consumers an entirely new way to interact with technology through Alexa. And most recently, we launched Amazon Go stores in the US, which uses computer vision and provides seamless shopping experience to customers. We call it Just Walk Over Technology. So our mission is to take our rich experience, next slide, and expertise with machine learning across Amazon and put it in the hands of all organizations, every developer, data scientist, and research. And we want to simplify machine learning, and we want to make it easy for all developers to easily build intelligent applications. So we see machine learning stack having three key layers. In the bottom layer, what we call are the frameworks and infrastructures, and are meant for those people who are comfortable building and maintaining their own ML platforms and underlying infrastructure. These are academic researchers, data scientists, and whatnot. In the middle layer are the machine learning services that makes it easy for machine learning developers and data scientists to build, train, and deploy machine learning models in a single click with Amazon SageMaker. In addition to the IDE that we provide, all Amazon SageMaker features are available through APIs. And in the top layer, what we call democratizing the use of AI, where we have AI services that allow developers to use pre-trained and auto-trained models to add intelligence to any application without machine learning experience. So today I'm going to focus on two key services, Amazon Recognition and Amazon SageMaker, which helps our customers to build applications around computer vision. Next slide, please. So let's start with Amazon Recognition. This service was launched in 2016. It allows developers and AWS customers to add computer vision capabilities to their applications by analyzing images and videos. In other words, it helps in identifying what is in your image and video and what you can do at scale with a single API call. And then no machine learning experience is needed. So with Amazon Recognition, you can identify objects, people, text, scenes, and activities in images and videos, as well as detect any inappropriate content that you see. It also provides highly accurate facial analysis and facial search capabilities that you can use to detect, analyze, and compare faces for a variety of user verification, people counting, and public safety use cases. It also provides, we also have Amazon Recognition custom labels, where you can identify the objects and scenes in images that are specific to your business needs. For example, you can build a model to classify specific machine parts on your assembly line or to detect unhealthy plants. So I'll talk about a few of the use cases specifically around financial services, because Chihao talked about some of the use cases in retail and other domains. Can you go to the next slide, please? So here are some of the use cases that you see financial institutions are implementing. Very common that we call it Know Your Customer or KYC. As part of the customer onboarding process, financial institutions have instituted KYC workflows, which is the process of verifying the identity of customers to comply with regulations and give them access to services and products. Traditionally, the KYC process was done in person, requiring the customer to bring in multiple forms of ID and fill out physical paperwork. In recent years, many startups, fintech companies, such as digital banks and cryptocurrency exchanges, allow you to open an account from an app on your phone by uploading a picture of your government ID and selfie. As such, government entities and regulators are also beginning to adopt this mechanism. One example is Reserve Bank of India, that now allows leading institutions to use a video-based customer identification process. An example is an ATM. ATMs are now being enhanced with facial recognition technology as an additional layer of security. For example, 90% of Macau's ATMs are now fitted with Know Your Customer measures, which includes facial recognition technology. So why is facial recognition being used for verification? Because it provides enhanced security and improved customer experience. From a security standpoint, things like passwords, PIN numbers, and answers to security questions identify an individual based on what they know. Facial recognition identifies a person based on who they are. Next slide, please. So another service which is very, very compelling is called Amazon SageMaker. It's a fully managed services that removes the heavy lifting from each step of the machine learning process. And since we have launched, we have added over 50 new capabilities in the last 12 months to improve the end-to-end experience for our customers to deliver experience around machine learning capabilities. With Amazon SageMaker, you have the flexibility to use an automated machine learning or use any component as a modular capability. And there are a variety of use cases that can become implemented by SageMaker. For example, next slide. For example, in predictive maintenance, you can predict if a component will fail before failure based on sensor data. Some of the example applications include predicting failure and remaining useful life of automotive fleets, manufacturing equipment, and IoT sensors. Other use cases around computer vision are automatically medical diagnosis from X-ray and other imaging data, which Juhao talked about it. Manufacturing quality control automation to detect defective parts. And some of the other use cases that we are seeing is car insurance claim approval and processing. Bottom line is, at AWS, we have many ML services that can help customers to deliver outcomes on a variety of computer vision use cases. And another question that Sarah was asking, how can customers leverage these? So we work with partners like Tapway, who have deep expertise in leveraging AWS machine learning services and to support your business need. And we have various funding mechanisms that we can work with our partner Tapway to kickstart your journey on leveraging AWS platform. With that, thank you so much for having me over here.
All right, thank you, Mr. Avinash. So thank you for the AWS on video AI description and explanation. So for the next panel session, let's go to Plus. So, all right. Okay, so here we have Mr. Sam Majib, the Chief Technology and Innovation Officer for Plus, and also he's the CEO for Terras. So we would like to know, why does Plus use video AI, and how does video AI help Plus to improve efficiency and simplify operations?
Thank you, Sarah and Tapway, for this invitation, and pleasure to be a speaker amongst all the other distinguished speakers today. I suppose for the audience that are in this call, you might be wondering that, what is the main reason why Plus is doing this? And I suppose it is actually to be consistent with the expectation of the government and also yourselves as highway user, where you would want the situation of highways to move from the right-hand side where we have barriers to the left-hand side where there are no barriers, so that you can go in and out at the highest efficiency, nominal speed, without slowing down, without touching your touch and go card, or even slowing down to for the barriers to open. So that world is what we call multi-lane free flow, and government is expecting that all highways will be doing this around about 2025. So we are giving ourselves a head start. We started to look into video analytics in 2018. And after a series of engagement with various different partners, we come down to engagement with Tapway as part of a pilot that basically saw that we are testing out at 7 toll plazas along Plus. Plus has 94 toll plazas, 1,078 lanes, and we serve 1.6 million cars a day. So video analytics is a very important aspect, not only to automate our vehicle classification that you saw in the video, where today there is a manual process where somebody needs to click on the keypad, press number 1, press number 2, press number 3 for the various classes of vehicle that goes into a toll plaza. We want to automate that so that it becomes a computer recognized classification of vehicles based on Excel, number plates, and etc. Next slide. Basically, in highways that you see overseas, for it to be without toll plaza, without barriers, it requires 3 components, which we have been looking into for the last 2 years, and we're still part of it. Number 1 is RFID, and you have heard about RFID, that Plus and many other highways, including Touch and Go, are campaigning so that it will be attached to your vehicle which allows the scanning of your vehicle up to 160 kilometers per hour without you slowing down. So that's what RFID can do for you. Number two is number plate recognition, so that we can detect your number plate for us to securely understand how are you paying for your toll. You might be paying via Touch and Go e-wallet or many other forms of payment, and that needs to attach to some sort of identity of the vehicle. So that's where the number plate recognition comes from. The third one, maybe you don't know, is about toll fares. Toll fares are based on axle of vehicles, 2-axle, 3-axle, 4-axle. And this is where our vehicle classification comes from. We already have today, for the last 20 years, a manual and also mechanical-based vehicle classification. And along our highway, we have 2,000 CCTV cameras that needs to be upgraded. Therefore, we are looking into video analytics vehicle classification to understand how can we automate and improve the efficiency at the lane for vehicles to go in and out at nominal speeds. So there are three components on the highway that we are looking into, and this is why we are participating in a video analytics implementation, and it's part of a journey to realize the government's aspiration. Next slide. So, like I said before, if we can increase the efficiency of customers like all of you, when you enter a toll plaza or even when you exit, even along the main line, it will increase the economy. It will bring more benefit in terms of time saving. So today, most of our toll lanes, including smart tag, the highest we can go is about 800 vehicles per hour. And in a situation of multi-lane free flow where there are no barriers, but we can detect you in terms of axle and RFID and number plate, the vehicle per hour is expected to be 3,600. So that's a multiple fold increase in efficiency of your time and our work process. I only have 3 slides that I want to show, but basically it means that by Plus engaging in such a project, we are trying to be ahead of the curve to understand not only the benefits, but also limitations, and maybe how do we overcome gaps in the present technology of video analytics for us to cater for, such as number plate recognition, people counting at our rest areas, number of axle a vehicle has. Even sometimes we have to go into the details of understanding the difference between a Grab vehicle, which is a passenger vehicle, and a normal passenger car, which actually has 2 different toll fares. So it comes to improvement to the technology that we have been looking for, and we've been working together with Tapway for the last 1 year, improving on the deep learning model and giving space for the data sets to pick up. And congratulations to the speakers today for being on board, because we've done all this even throughout the MCO situation where traffic volume as we speak today is a little bit lower than normal. Back to you.
All right, thank you, Samajid, for the explanation. And now we have heard real-time benefits from Video AI from Plus. So now let's get to how the government promote businesses to adopt and like to embark on the Video AI journey. So right here we have Dr. Carl. So Dr. Carl is the director of Data Ecosystem Development Division, and he leads MDEX efforts in building a thriving national data ecosystems that leverage on the power of data for value creation, innovation, and new sources of growth. So without further ado, we would like to know what are the government's role in promoting AI, and then is there any program, grant, or funding that businesses can do and start their video analytics journey?
Okay, all right. Thank you, Sarah. Distinguished speakers as well as audience. I would like to present to you, some of the efforts that we're doing when it comes to video analytics and also overall data analytics and AI, right? So next slide. So all of you know that, AI is becoming mainstream, right? So in our daily lives, we are impacted by various different technologies, right? All of this are all connected, and we have Internet of Things, we have advanced in material, in cameras and whatnot, which will resulting in the use of data to create value, and also ultimately the use of AI. Next. Right. So what is important here, it's through the advancement of technology, Internet of Things, you have mobile devices that have cameras and various different data sources. This data can be harnessed and can be optimized for decision making, to track behavior, to look at process optimization. Ultimately, for you as organizations, you want to be able to optimize your processes so that you're able to reduce your cost efficiency, as well as to gain extra revenue. Next. Right, MDEC has been focusing on the area of data and AI for the last 6 years. We started by developing what is known as a national big data framework, where we provide with the direction of how big data can be used to enhance the productivity, as well as to create new revenue of growth. Right. So for this year, our focus is really to look at, how to build an ecosystem by advocating policy, building ecosystem, connecting communities, and to drive growth in terms of adoption, in terms of talent development, as well as in terms of policy development. Next. Right, and then the foundation of this is data, right? And data in the form of data being captured from the cameras, data that is existing in the corporate sector, as well as other form of data which is available. And this data can be used for decision making, to drive innovation, as well as to drive productivity and competitiveness, right? With smarter algorithm, computing power, we have AI. Next. Let me just show you some of the applications that are already existing. There's a lot of different companies who are already doing this. For example, the emotion analysis technology, where you can track the emotion of people as they go through a series of camera. With smart algorithm, you're able to classify, the current state of emotion, and imagine what this can do for you. Even in classrooms, even in retail outlets, this are very useful to know the current sentiment or the emotion of people, right? So next. This is yet another example. I think Chi Hao mentioned about this, visual inspection, right? Tremendous opportunity when it comes to productivity savings, as well as quality improvement, because machines are better when it comes to, inspection compared to the naked eye. Next. Right, so this is an example of a project which we actually did a pilot some time ago. In fact, I think Sam Majid Plus actually participated in this. We actually had a few various data sources, including video feeds from various different parties, including DBKL. We also have traffic light data, grab data, movement data, and whatnot. So by combining this data, then you're able to get greater insights in terms of the traffic movement. And with this, we're able to do traffic optimization, as well as accident detection. All right. So this is a pilot that we actually did. Next. And of course, all this technology can be used in underserved sector as well. For example, in the agriculture sector, we actually had a project in PPK Langat, it's Kuala Langat, where it's actually a chili plantation, chili farm, where we actually use data analytics and IoT to look at improving the yield, as well as reducing the costs of the farm. Right. Next. To do this, all this, I think the missing element is here is actually talent. You need competent talent to be able to do this particular role, and especially you will need talent such as a data scientist. And in the last few years, the data scientist role has been one of the fastest growing role in Malaysia. In fact, last year LinkedIn listed this data scientist as the fastest growing role. And then thanks to some of the efforts that we are actually doing in the area of data science and analytics. Next. Right, so this is actually, we actually have a national target when it comes to data professionals. The target is 20,000. As of last year, we have facilitate development of nearly 14,000 data professionals. So data professionals are people that has the data skill sets. These are data analysts, data engineers, data scientists, and they, currently they include people like, from a machine learning standpoint. And right now, 23 universities in the whole Malaysia are offering data science courses. And many of them are offering at the postgraduate level. We also have training service providers ranging of 30 to 40 training providers who are also offering, machine learning, data science related courses as well, right? Next, what is important here is actually, we actually have a thriving community as well that are very keen and interested to learn more about application of data and AI. And these are actually some of the communities that we supported. And some of these communities are available through online events, and they do conduct courses for people who want to learn more about topics like AI and how do you apply this in different technologies and environment, right? With regards to incentives to help companies to adopt, what we do is MDEC actually has different programs to help people to adopt. For example, we do have, from my division perspective, we do have a program for data technology partnership where we have companies who have expertise in this particular area who are willing to help and to offer their services to companies who want to adopt this. Right. On top of this, there's also a grant scheme under Penjana. Of course, some of you have heard about Penjana, where there's a grant scheme called the Smart Automation Grant. This is for any Malaysian companies in the service sector who wish to take up digital transformation and to take up certain implementation of technology to improve their business operation as well as revenue. This grant is available up to a ceiling of 200,000 or 50% of the total cost, and the project must not be more than 4 months. Right. For more information, you can actually log on to MDEC website, search for Smart Automation Grant, and you're able to find out more information about this grant scheme. Right. There's also other talent related initiative as well that MDEC actually runs. There's a whole list of talent skill sets and programs available also through our website. You can actually learn more of this, right? So that's all I have for today, and I wish you all the best. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer all of these questions in the Q&A session. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Dr. Carl. So that's the end of our panel session. So now let's just get right into it. We are going to have our question and answer session. So let's see our question box. So we have a few questions here. So, all right, so first from Yi Chin Tan. Is 5G going to be incorporated in your product? So let's answer this.
I think this is a question for Malcolm.
Oh,
hey, yeah. I was just waiting for the cue from Sarah to answer that. But yeah, so I think this is it's a multifaceted question, right? I was trying to figure out the right answer for the person who asked this. So it's a really a big scope because it's involving a few different parties, right? So because this is a question that could involve, for example, the cloud, a public cloud service provider like Amazon, It could also involve a telco service provider. It could also involve a private cloud company that is, promoting their own 5G services, which we have seen in Singapore. Actually, I'm not sure if you have seen the same thing in Malaysia. Maybe some of our panelists could share, right? So what this means is actually Intel is in the forefront. We are working with multiple of such 5G service provider to encapsulate our product and our silicon chips inside, together with the OpenVINO toolkit that I talked about earlier. But most of the effort that we see, if a private company were interested to take their solution onto the 5G, usually what happens is this is the word that we always use, which is containerization, right? Meaning, how do we package a solution like what Tapway have, and we package it onto a private cloud that has 5G capabilities, and we run it to the end consumers. So the short answer is yes. 5G, it will be incorporated in most of Intel's product, and perhaps, hopefully soon, one day we will see it in Malaysia on the tech and AI space, and maybe in the soonest time, Tapway will have that as well.
All right. So we have another question for Malcolm as well, right? Related to management of data, kindly share your security strategy throughout the process.
Okay, so I think this is something that we shared just now, but we touch on it very little, right? And essentially, the entire strategy of edge to cloud and edge video AI is all about security management. I'm not sure if this is, yeah, okay, so this is related to data, right? So it's all about data security, because we have had a lot of requests from customers, big and small, and the request could be like, hey, I don't want the camera devices to look like camera. So instead of a camera, could you install a 3D sensor? So it's picking up visual colored images instead of an actual visual capture of my facial features, right? We also have requests and questions from customers saying that, hey, could you only capture what is needed? So I think the whole point here is, with a company like Tapway with their analytics solution, and with us allowing them to be able to put the solution on the camera itself instead of running it back to the server, you are already filtering out a lot of security issues, because once the analytics have been ran, what you're getting is ones and zeros. So you're no longer getting someone's face, you're no longer getting just security feeds. And as these ones and zeros pass through to the server, it's encrypted, and only Tapway would have the ability to access it and process it in a meaningful way. So the technology itself, in a sense, it's a security strategy to make sure that users' privacy and the public's privacy is protected at all times.
Yeah, and I think this is also a question for AWS as well, definitely. Like, how do we ensure that data is protected from edge to the cloud, from at rest to in transit? Maybe Abhinav, if you want to explain a bit about that.
Yeah, so data is protected because we make sure that people who have the right access authorization can only access the AWS environment. And whenever you're building the model within SageMaker, right, AWS SageMaker service, all the artifacts are secured both at rest and transit. So we do have several services to ensure that the entire AWS ML framework is all secured for you. And only the right people have the access to that environment.
All right, Sarah?
Okay, that's it. So now, another question for you, Abhinav, is the image recognition algorithm provided by AWS? Is it possible to upload our own algorithm to AWS for real-time analytics?
Yeah, so we do have our own services, which is what I talked about, which is Amazon Recognition. It does provide, it has a model, pre-trained model in it, right? And it does serve customers to a number of use cases. However, if you think that your use case cannot be served by out-of-the-box model, you can leverage AWS SageMaker service, where you can customize the model, right? But also you can bring your own model as well to the SageMaker, as long as it's containerized, and you can bring that image and then use SageMaker to deploy it. Yes, so the question is yes. and you can bring your own model.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Abhinav. Now for another question for Mr. Sam. How is Plus experience using edge cloud computing? What are the problems that you encounter when implementing edge cloud computing?
We are experimenting with many edge computing capabilities. So our video analytics exercise with Tapway is one of them. The reason being is because our internet connectivity is 1,000 kilometers long underneath our highway. And we do experience physical internet connection disruption like fiber cuts, which means that our access to the cloud gets disrupted quite often due to construction that happens along the highway. So edge computing offers something that we have to really understand the pros and cons, especially from a business and cost benefit perspective. It is something that we are looking very closely, and we have been testing it out, including the video analytics project that we are talking about.
Okay, so while we're at it as well, we have another question for you. What are Plus future plans on implementing edge cloud computing?
Future plans would be beyond use cases of the toll lanes. As I mentioned, we have 2,000 CCTV cameras. Not all are at the toll lanes. Some are on the main line along the highway as you travel, and some are along the rest area. So we have future use cases such as footfall and people heat map, congestion on the actual highway, foreign object, wild animals crossing. These are things that basically affect safety, affects customer experience, and this would be our future use cases after we have understood what is the limitation and benefits of video analytics at the toll lanes.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Sam. Dr. Carl, we have questions for you. So how does company keep IP when contributing to data sharing?
The question again, it's related to IP.
Yes.
Intellectual property. Right. So it's basically depending on the organization requirement. So if IP it's really important to you, you need to specify, and also make sure that whatever IP that you that is important to you is not being transmitted, right? So you need to put in filters, you need to anonymize your data, you need to put in certain strategy to make sure that that those are not being shared, right? So ultimately, I think for data sharing standpoint, it's all about value, right? So you need to be able to create value and also get back the value. So if you, let's say the value that you provide is too much, that you're giving out your IP and you're not getting anything back in return, is something that you need to reconsider, and also to make sure that the arrangement is of mutual benefit for everyone. Right. So there's also other questions as well. I noticed it's related to the grant scheme, right? So the current batch is currently it has closed on the 30th of October, right? So for your information, I think in the recent budget 2021, there's an announcement by the government that they will continue this grant scheme, right? So therefore, we will need to get the confirmation on the funding and also and whatnot, and definitely there'll be another round. Please, continue to monitor our news on our website to look at the new opening date for that. Right. So whatever numbers that those who have submitted, we are committed to process those application.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Carl. So another question is for Chihao. You would like to answer this. How does video analytics helps to collect data?
Yeah, I think I'll answer the next question as well, because I think the first question is just very general. But yeah, really, what video analytics really help is you have cameras now everywhere, but cameras are just passive, right? Because you either need a security guard or someone to look at it to actually detect an event, and if you are paying 100% attention, which you are not, so you are likely to miss out on a lot of anomalies and alert events that should have been alerted to the security anyway. And that's really where video analytics come in to automate and to capture every single event and to help lessen the workload on the security or the operation side. And the workflow that we have right now, we have cameras basically at the edge, and either a server, an AI server, or directly an AI chip on the camera itself to do the data capturing, or we call that image or video inference. So once we have the video inference, the data will be sent directly to the cloud, and in this case, AWS cloud, and the data will be processed in real time, and you can actually see the reporting, the dashboard in real time. And apart from just analytics itself, we also have certain actions. So you can trigger alerts, you can trigger certain actions to the operation team or security team. And that's basically a platform that we have. And we are fortunate enough to have AWS as well, because they have something called IoT platform, where you can basically do an over-the-air update for all your cameras, in a project, right? So you don't need to manually deploy new models. So you have basically a model that's constantly improving and can be deployed to be executed in any of the sites that you have.
All right. Thank you, Chi Hao. Now we have a question for Sam and Dr. Carl. Connected vehicles is such a major trend now worldwide. In fact, it has come to shore here since the mass market Proton X70 and X50 are integrated 4G connectivity. Can we look forward to a day when Malaysians can throw away our physical touch and go card and smart tag and have payments integrated with our vehicles on an open platform? Why are we still somehow stuck with a monopoly payment service when it comes to toll payment? Also, your general thoughts on what tech business in Malaysia should capitalize on connected vehicle trends.
Maybe I'll get Dr. Carl to answer first.
All right. So I think in terms of cashless transaction, and also as all of you know, the current COVID pandemic has really opened, the eyes of consumers as well, retailers as well, and also key stakeholders in terms of the importance of digital transformation and the importance of digital transaction, right? So if you look at this one recent statistics, the cashless transaction as the volume of it has increased tremendously by tens, many folds during the pandemic, the current pandemic challenges that we have, right? So moving forward, the trend is everyone prefer to have a cashless transaction, and everyone would want to have a seamless transaction when it comes to looking at a deployment of solutions, right? So from a government standpoint, I think this is something, the trend that it's not going to reverse, but moving forward there'll be a lot more opportunity when it comes to integrating services and also having seamless solutions, right? Whether or not that this will be single platform, multi-platform and whatnot is something which the industry needs to decide. It's basically market forces. From a government standpoint, right now, I think all of you may heard about the National Digital ID initiative. This is something that the government is considering rolling out. There's a study being done, it's very positive, and the government is looking at implementing that, right? With a single national ID, that will eliminate a duplication when it comes to online transaction. All you need to remember is one single digital ID, right? And you can actually use it, to do verification and whatnot. And it actually reduces a lot of the effort in terms of verification and validation as well, right? So what I say, it's in the future many things can happen, but right now with we are right on track in delivering and developing digital solutions that can ease and also make the life of the rakyat a lot more easier, right? I leave to the question about integration, the RFID and whatnot to Sam.
Okay. No worries. So, okay, why are we somehow stuck with monopoly? The positive point here is that monopolies don't last forever. There are many new uh, players of payments that are looking to make their presence felt when it comes to the mobility industry. Highway is one of them. So I would say watch this space because monopolies tend not to last forever. Secondly, is that I would also invite anybody here in the audience that knows that are passionate about building open platforms for us to work together to eliminate silo ecosystems when it comes to the connected vehicle. Without players like us coming together, they will eventually be just spaghetti, point-to-point silo implementations of connected vehicle where infrastructures don't talk to each other. I suppose we are, from Plus point of view, we have been talking to the National Technology Sandbox so that we can have a safe space to experiment many of the connected vehicle use cases, such as autonomous vehicle moving from Cyberjaya and hitting the highway and still can still continue without doing a U-turn. So we are looking into that, and obviously there'll be examples of payments that we want to test out, and also other forms of mobility that we believe a safe sandbox should provide. However, a sandbox is only useful when there are players inside it playing together, talking to each other. So I invite any of you that are into building open platforms to come and talk to us so that we can also avoid future monopolies from happening again. Uh, how should technology capitalize? I suppose it's all about innovation, having more brain power, looking into what the data is saying, and more importantly, what are customers asking for. Customer experience is very important when it comes to pushing the economy forward. That will also yield future incomes for businesses. So always listen to the customer.
All right, thank you. And now for, because we have exceed our time, so now the last questions. For Dr. Carl, what are the business model that MDEC and Tapway provide for companies that want to adopt AI analytics? Does MDEC has planned for reskilling STEM graduates to be machine learning engineers?
Okay, so uh, the the right now, I think in terms of the learning perspective, right? So there's a lot of different opportunity for learning right now. And some of this is even freely available, right? So if you are new in this field, you want to learn certain things, I would encourage you to look at, internet. There's a lot of open learning sort of initiative. A lot of them are MOOCs initiative where you can actually, learn online. In fact, we actually have a collaboration with Coursera, where those people that are out of work and they are looking at upskilling themselves to get ready for the new job. They're able to actually make use of this collaboration to actually learn free online. These are actually Coursera related courses. There are also other related initiative by Perkeso HRDF as well, which helps the current companies to reskill the people, right? So there's multiple. We also have a list of all the training programs available through our website. So there's a multiple training service providers. Some of them are paid, majority are paid, but perhaps there could be some training providers that are offering free workshops and whatnot, right? We also have in the coming months, next week, this month is actually the Malaysia Tech Month, right? So we actually run different related workshops, seminars. It's all free this month. In fact, next week we also run a program around a workshop series. We also have a hackathon as well. This time around, what we do is the focus is on storytelling and visualization, right? So you're interested to create like a visualization, and you're able to make use of the data and tell a story. You stand a chance to win attractive prizes as well. right? What we do with companies like Tapway and all the others, they are actually our partners, and we work together in terms of trying to build and increase the awareness as well as adoption of AI and data related solutions, so that more Malaysians can take this up and to be more competitive moving forward.
All right. All right, I think that's it for today. But before we wrap everything else, can we have a group photo for us now? So I'm just gonna screen capture in 3, 2, 1. All right, hold on, 1, 2, 3. One more time, 1, 2, 3. All right, thank you everyone.
Hey, Sarah, could I maybe steal 1 minute of your time to add on what Dr. Carl mentioned just now for that question? Because I think there is a lot of space of opportunities that are being offered by both AWS individually, Intel individually, and AWS and Intel together. So actually, if be it if you are a customer or if you are a tech company that is a system implementer that want to work together with Tapway, there are multiple avenues actually that Intel and AWS help out. For example, as I've mentioned just now, we do provide sample hardwares for an SI or for an analytics solution like Tapway to test out on. If you have a specific solution or an idea that you want to implement in your workplace or your establishment, and also AWS and Intel also have a collaboration in terms of helping to accelerate the market when it comes to AI solutions, right? So we have a collaborative effort where we offer some funding for specific opportunities that is of our interest, and we will give some, I believe AWS will offer some AWS credits as well to run the solution if it's an edge to cloud opportunity. So I think all of this, but it will have to go through a very, very specific partner like Tapway or any other Intel AWS partner, and then we can work it out, right? So funding, to a certain extent, a big vendor like Intel and AWS will always be there to help assist, if the solution makes sense, if the timing makes sense, yeah.
Okay, all right. So that's it. Thank you, everyone. But we appreciate you being here, but we would like to hear your feedback. So please put this side here. And yeah, thank you again for joining, and we will see you next time.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay, thanks everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay.